Any YouTuber has to talk to their audience and just sort of get a gauge of where things go into the future.
It seems like he's making a video about the future of his channel all the time. I don't know. I guess I just don't understand content creators who like announce their every move.
One of the things that has sort of really struck with me, ladies and gentlemen, is just sort of yapping about Linux, man.
Okay, cool. I like that for you.
I've noticed that in this community of like Linux, there's so much elitism.
That's like any community. They think that they're better than people because they sit down and they spend the time to computers while they don't get any.
But yeah, you know, the future of this channel, I really want to kind of talk a little bit more about Linux for a little bit.
Why wasn't this video just called like, hey guys, I'm going to be making more Linux videos? All right, cool. What is the point of this? I really don't care.
So, have you ever heard of Lunix? Have you ever heard of Tux the Penguin?
All right, it went from like kind of wholesome to just scary. What are you doing, dude? All right, guys, I'm curious about this video. It's moving hard. Saying a serious talk about the future of this channel. I'm just honestly curious. I'm not watching it as like a hater or anything. I know there's been like a lot of controversy this year, whatever. I don't really care too much. I mean, it is what it is. Stuff happens, dude. It's that end of the year reflection time for everybody. And the views are usually, it's weird for like controversy stuff. The views are usually down a little bit. Isn't that weird? Isn't that so strange that the views are down during the controversy?
I want to have a little...
Who would have thought? Who would have thought about that? Well, it's the end of the year. Holiday season. People are happier. So good time to reflect.
A little bit of a chat about the future of stuff that I'm going to be doing on this channel. Yeah. And honestly, one thing that has me the most excited that I've ever been. Now, for the last 3 months, I know that I've been ragging on Microsoft. I've been talking about computer privacy. Incredible. I've been talking about your safety. I've been talking about Big Brother spying on you.
Ooh,
but, you know...
What the hell's he spying on me? That's kind of hot.
And amongst all of the crazy, wild negativity that exists in the world, I have never been more passionate about talking about the Penguin, ladies and gentlemen. And that is about really...
Like the show, The Penguin?
Really Linux. Now, going into the future, you know, by 2026, you know, I got a long time before GTA 6 drops. I've got a long time before serious life changes.
I thought GTA was supposed to drop right now, dude. What's going on with that?
Occur for me where I'll have less time to do YouTube, so...
Yeah, somebody said he might be having a kid. Is that it?
You can make of that what you will, right? But the reality of it is, you know, I want to talk about interesting things. I want to go back to looking at some internet creepypasta stuff. I want to, you know, really go into looking at some deep web stuff, hopefully shying away from some of the more negative stuff, because literally...
Dude, we love negative stuff here, am I right, guys? We love negativity here, dude.
Trying to browse to I've literally just been editing something for it the last 20 you know, hours, so to speak, like just sort of like looking through websites. A lot of it is still Hitman stuff. A lot of it, unfortunately, has become...
Oh, like people dying? Like Hitman's like actual like cartel type video stuff? That's crazy, dude. Those are distressing, I'll tell you that.
Become really illegal stuff.
Is dark web stuff? I feel like it's got to be tough to do dark web stuff. You know, like I remember when we talked a lot about Predators. There was a Predator season for a long time. That burnt me the fuck out, dude. Like seeing people do nasty shit a lot and just like talking about it. I don't know, man. You get like a secondhand like racks your brain a little bit. It's a little, you know, so I feel like dark web is pretty much that, no?
But I still try to wade through and find some of the funny things that at least I can show you. But something that is so positive for me, okay, is talking about Linux. Now, I don't know if you guys have known this, but Linux broke 5% desktop share in the United States.
Does that mean that 5% of people are using it? Isn't Linux like really difficult to use because it requires you to actually understand how computers work?
If you don't know why that isn't a big deal, I want you to remember, okay, we've been going up 1 something percent every year. Now, I know for a fact, nobody, no one, no normie, okay, no grandpa that is browsing on the computer is going to be installing Linux, okay? It's just never going to happen.
Yeah, no, it requires like actual computer understanding, which is why I will never use it.
Okay, that's crazy shit. But, you know, in the last 3 months, some of the most popular videos on this channel have been talking about, you know, ragging on Windows, obviously, but also using Linux.
I don't know, man. I like Windows. I like things that are easy. I'm not really trying to, you know, I think it's cool that people have computers as a hobby in like a deep way where they can understand, I guess, some kind of coding language, because I'm assuming that's what like Linux is to some extent. But I don't care about that. I'm not that person. That's not an interest of mine, and I don't want to have to understand like a deep level of something to really get into it, especially to just get into it. I would almost guarantee that every single person who's into Linux right now started with like Windows. They started with the baby version of it, something that was like very easy for you to understand. So, like, yeah, I mean, everybody who hates on Windows used Windows to start. Just to be clear, all right, that's a fact. I've determined that that's a fact. So, but it probably is a fact. That's how everything works. You start with the easiest version of something, and then you can gradually do more difficult things once you understand the fundamentals.
Linux. You know, the other day I made a video where I talked about Zorin OS, and you know, a week before that,
Zorin Mamdani,
I talked about something. I made the monthly Linux cope video into the almost weekly Linux cope video. But it's not so much cope, in my opinion, as it is actually teaching. Now, some of the most popular stuff here has been sort of teaching you how to run Windows stuff on Linux, how to get
guys, is he an engineer?
games up and running on Linux, and it really has shown me that there's a market of people that just exist out on the internet that want to escape this evil island that we have, okay? This evil island where almost every single corporation wants to stick surveillance tech into your software.
Oh, is that what they're doing with like Windows and shit? They stick surveillance tech in there? I guess I wouldn't doubt it.
They want to put
I don't know, man. Like, is it a doomer perspective? I fucking hate all the AI shit. Is it a doomer perspective to just be like, they're gonna have surveillance on me anyway? Who fucking cares? Is that like the wrong? Is that lazy? I don't know. Like, I definitely do care, but then like also I feel like it's so overwhelming, the lack of control that I have in my own life at this point with all this like tech shit, AI and everything, that it's like, okay, it's just gonna happen. So what am I gonna do? Be distressed about it all the time? You know, I want to try to have like a healthy relationship with it, so I don't like stress myself out and get fucking like, oh fuck, everything's, you know,
AI everywhere, you know, to the point where you can't even escape from it, okay? You can't just escape. You can't just hide in your shell and escape from, you know, all these big brother tech firms looking into your day-to-day life without any goddamn impunity. Now, you know, I've been using Linux for like 6 years now, and it's brought a lot of like joy into my life. Joy in the sense that I'm a tinker. I love playing around with stuff. I love playing around with all forms of technology. And nothing has been more exciting for me than firing up Linux and trying to get things to work. Maybe that's just a psycho masochist in me.
I don't think so. You're just tinkering. It's not that like crazy. I understand it. Like, I get it. People like to take stuff apart and rebuild them and stuff sometimes. Like, I'm going to try to fix my old phone's screen just because it sounds fun to like tinker with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like a tinkering thing. People like to tinker. It's not like a masochistic thing, you know. It's not like you can't function in life without it. Like, you could literally just not do that, but you decide like, oh no, you know what, I want to be a tinkerer, but I could still fall back on other programs to be able to go on the internet. Like, I'm assuming his phone isn't a Linux or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, he still has, you know, alternative pathways to get on the internet, so it's just a hobby.
But I do tend to enjoy it. And then the last 3-4 months, one of the reasons why I've been super duper positive about it, and one of the reasons why I want to make it sort of a future point of my channel, sort of talk about it going into 2026 pretty heavily, is because I really do feel like we're on a...
It's probably because he's like a very rich, and like he has a special interest that still makes him decent money. Oh shit. So he's like, yeah, you know what, I'll talk about it for money. I respect that.
Cusp of things kind of changing. We're on a cusp of actual competition finally arriving. And I guess one of the reasons I'm making this video is to sort of like ask you what it is that you want to go forward with, because, you know, from time to time any YouTuber has to talk to their audience and just sort of get a gauge of where things go into the future. Take some constructive criticism, take some, you know, actual, you know, just talking to the community, right?
Sure.
So, you know, I want to just kind of ask you how interested you would be in if we decided to just go further into the Linux side and start to actually talk about getting not just your favorite, you know, programs to run, but also how to make the experience just that much more closer to what you're currently used to. I've noticed in the comment section there's been a lot of people that have been asking, Muda, what if I don't have Steam? What if I don't care for Valve? Can I just install games onto my actual system just like I would? And I don't know if they're asking me if they want to pirate video games onto their stuff. Sometimes it can be hard to tell in the coded speak we have. But, you know, yes, you can. And, you know, I've kind of shown it on
Can you use Steam without having a Windows? That's fucking interesting. Dude, you know, I don't really care. I just want to get the Steam machine, dude. I don't give a fuck. I was looking at something that said that the Steam machine is probably going to be more expensive. It's probably going to be more expensive than a, like a normal, like a, you know, Xbox or a, whatever the fuck else they're called. PlayStation 5, which I'm playing right now and cannot remember the name of. Like, how crazy is that? And the reason is because they're not going to be able to like subsidize it. They're not going to be able to subsidize the experience, because they're not necessarily going to be able to, because you can also like turn it into a what's it called? You can just use it as a computer. So what they can't, like, usually like PlayStation 5, Xbox, Twitch, whatever, they can subsidize the parts. They can basically make no money on selling you a Switch or a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, because they know you're going to buy their games, so they're going to make it back with that. But apparently with the Steam machine, like, it can be an actual computer. It's very easy to just make it a regular computer. And so what the fear is people mass buying it that work at companies and businesses to use it as a computer. And then all of a sudden, like, they're not going to make back that subsidized wage from getting people to buy Steam games. So it doesn't work out for them. So that sucks, because it's probably going to be more expensive for the price point than it needs to be. But I'm still going to buy it because I don't care. I don't really give a shit at all. It seems like a pretty interesting, exciting thing. That's all I really care about. So I'm looking forward to it still.
My channel, but I feel like there's got to be better ways for me to sort of like tutorialize this. You know, a couple days ago when I made that Zorn OS video, I really wanted to show people sort of that raw, uncut experience of what it's like to switch over. I really hate it when like channels start to like almost you know, hide the fact that there sometimes is resistance. Sometimes things aren't so picture perfect. So I do like to show you guys the experience as it is, so you as a viewer can judge if you really want to go down such a confusing road. But, you know, looking at things like modding video games, for instance, which I've had a lot of questions asked. It's like, Muda, do you mod video games? And actually, you know, today I was just modding Cyberpunk 2077, and I actually was blown away by how easy it is underneath, you know, platforms like Linux now, with a lot of software that just sort of does it all for you.
I don't even know how modding games works. I feel like people just do it on fucking, I don't know. It seems interesting. I see people that were modded like Goku into Black Myth Wukong. It was strange. Yeah, that's true. It seems like he's making like a video about the future of his channel all the time. Well, that's one of the things as like a content creator. That's why like it just is like almost getting locked into constantly talking about like how you're going to, you know, the changes you're going to make. Oh, well, that sucked. You know?
It's not just that, but even for things like content creation, like people who want to edit videos, record things, be content creators like live streamers, you know, a lot of these stuff is almost nearly feature complete. And again, you know, in a world where computer hardware is getting super duper expensive and the upgrade paths are becoming
yeah, I wonder why. I wonder if it has anything to do with tariffs.
limited in the mainstream, having actual competition really, in my opinion, just helps in every single way. But
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Sure, I can understand that. I see that Microsoft probably has the dominator on that type of market. I guess Mac would be second up, but I don't know if, you know, I don't know. Is Linux really considered a competitor to like Microsoft? Linux is for people who want to spend time to educate themselves on how a computer works in a more meaningful capacity. I feel like that's probably not necessarily competition. That's like saying like a fucking Toyota is a competition with a Porsche. I don't know if it's necessarily true.
But honestly, the only way that it's going to work is if there's actual good tutorials, there's actual good like material out there for people to actually learn from. Like I said, you know, in the last 3-4 months, analytics don't necessarily lie. Some of the best videos on this channel have been basically me guiding people on how to leave the Windows or even Mac prison and enter into the world of free and open source. You know, I've never been so passionate about things like this, you know, especially when it comes to free open source stuff, because, you know, I think it's been really depressing the last 3-4 months looking at how wild things have sort of gotten, right? How ramped up, honestly, since the beginning of 2025, how ramped up surveillance has gotten, how much privacy has been attacked, how many actual cyber attacks occur. And generally speaking, you know, for a lot of people who just sort of sit there and wonder, there's just no way we can evade this. There's no way we can escape from this matrix, Muda. There really is actually a way you can escape from this.
And the matrix? I don't know if it's like a matrix. I guess I understand what you're saying with AI and everything. I don't know. I feel like there's not. I mean, that's going to be the future. I would just hope that when it comes to like AI, that it just becomes another calculator instead of becoming something that's incredibly destructive, you know? In a sense, like just a tool that makes things a little bit easier to use rather than something that's like super harmful, that potentially like, you know, like massacres so many jobs that it fucks us completely, you know? Okay.
And I think one of them is just, you know, kind of talking about having a fun time discussing the old Penguin. Now, obviously, for me, I do want to talk about other things as well, too. I want to talk about emulation a little bit more in depth, too, because there's been a lot of advancements in almost every single thing that I've been passionate about. But yeah, one of the things that has sort of really struck with me, ladies and gentlemen, is just sort of yapping about Linux, man. Like, I've never been so excited waking up sometimes to record a video when it's about the Penguin, when it's talking about, like, running even Windows applications. Sometimes it baffles my mind because I wonder, like, why the fuck would somebody...
About AI-powered sex bots? That's a good point. Well, I feel like that's one of the biggest problems, though, right? Is that people, like, I guess guys especially, are, like, addicted to porn. Feel like it's a pretty big problem, and I feel like that's like almost the natural endpoint of the problem of porn addiction, right? I mean, right now, guys have porn, so it kind of decentivizes them from going out and trying to find partners, and then they complain about not being able to find partners. So go figure with that. But what are you gonna do there? But it decentivizes people from like having, what the fuck, dude? Jesus Christ, actually triggered me, this game. Holy fuck. Anyway, decentivizes people from going out there and trying to find a mate. Then again, I guess it also reduces the urges, so they don't do anything, say, sussy. You know what I'm saying? Don't do anything sussy. I don't know. I guess that would be the natural conclusion. I guess if you could put like a womb inside the AI sex bot, but then now we're having a conversation like, what is a human? That's gonna be like when I'm fucking 80, we're gonna be having conversations about what an actual human is. It's gonna be fucking crazy.
You sit there and watch like a fat Indian guy show how to set up Docker containers, and a lot of it is just mostly due to the fact that I think people tune into those.
Is that a Star Wars thing?
Videos, not because they're coming in for an entertaining time or to listen to me. But I think it's mostly obviously due to the fact that there is a growing contingent of people that just want the ability to switch over. And I think...
Sure. I mean, that makes sense to me. YouTube tutorials for people who want to do cool stuff on the old computer. That makes sure, I guess so.
At some point, making videos where, making something that is more welcoming to the audience is far better. I've noticed that in this community of like Linux and shit, like open source, materials, there's so much elitism and there's so much like infighting and constant bickering and drama that occurs. Like, especially when you look at some of these projects, I've covered it, obviously, in the last few weeks. But
well, I mean, that makes sense that there would be a bunch of bickering and like elitism inside of a community of people like that. That's like any community. They think that they're better than people because they sit down and they spend the time to fuck with computers while they don't get any pussy. No, it's supposed to be like a hobby. You think you'd want more people into it, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of like those elitist spaces. It's fucking ridiculous.
I think, for a lot of people who are jumping in, there are ways that you can get into this train. Easy ways, difficult ways, right? There's a lot of people in the Linux community.
Why wasn't this video just called like, hey guys, I'm going to be making more Linux videos? Why not just call it something like that? Hey guys, I'm going to be making more Linux videos. All right, cool.
Community that say that your experience isn't really fucking valid unless you're using some of the hardest distributions, some of the most convoluted distributions out there. And then, there's obviously the other camp that, just wants to keep things effectively as easy as they can. And for me,
that's me, dude. I like it. I like it easy.
Kind of where I've been making my content. I've just been sort of showing you guys nearly the resistance-free, almost like the easiest pathways into this like lifestyle, into this like universe.
What?
That really is just designed for most people who I know for a fact just want to use a computer to browse the internet, maybe make a video or two if you're like a budding content creator, or you are just like a content creator in general, or people who just want to play things like video games. Now, obviously, even with things like Linux, there's a long ways to go to actual, feature parity. I mean, games that require anti-cheats, anything of that nature, games that are made by developers who are so heavily resistant to the Penguin. These are just avenues we're going to be having to work towards, find alternate paths around, or just learn to vote with our wallets. For me, I just don't purchase video games that don't support the Penguin anymore, simply because ultimately, the end of the day,
calling it the Penguin is so fucking cringe, let me tell you.
The gaming market is very oversaturated to begin with. I can always just buy something that supports me instead of trying to work around something that ultimately will never accept this platform. But yeah, the future of this channel, I really want to kind of talk a little bit more about Linux for a little bit. So, ultimately, at the end of the day, I know that for some people it can be a really tiring thing, but, that's where I do want to talk to you guys. Obviously, it's not the only form of content that I will be covering. That would be fucking stupid. Ever since the beginning of into this channel, I've always diversified myself on talking about really what it is that interests me, whether it be, you know, internet creepypastas, whether it be internet creepy stories, whether it be funny things, whether it be a little bit of that internet, like, gossipy drama stuff.
Dude, what the fuck was the point of this video? I don't understand. It was just like, hey guys, I like this, so I'm going to talk about it some more. Okay, cool. I like that for you. I don't know, man. I feel like some creators get like locked into like this like info dump. Like, okay, like that's cool. Like, that's great. I'm not even hitting this button. Okay.
Stuff, whether it be just computer viruses or whatnot, these are things that always interest me. That's a cornerstone of this channel. I feel like if I ever start uploading things that just don't spark me, then at that point it might be just better to completely retire and call it quits. But for me, going into the future, sure. I do want to make more Linux content. I've just, you know, for me, I
mean, it's his channel. I just don't understand. Like, what is the point of this? I really don't get. I really don't get it. I don't know. I guess I just don't understand content creators who like announce their every move. It just seems strange to me. You know, like what do we get out of this? Like, you could have just done it.
The last like 3-4 months, just talking about Linux stuff, just talking about like, you know, computer stuff in general, just showing people the sort of alternate portal to another world that they could be going to.
Yeah, clickbait, maybe. Well, things might be slow right now. I mean, you know, if I post this as an actual segment, then I guess that's the proof, man. It's just slow. Dude, I'll tell you, like right after Thanksgiving, things like slow down super heavily. It's very interesting. Well, I guess it's, you know, it's just not really that interesting. I mean, people, you know, we're all chilling. It's Thanksgiving. We're all tired. Things start picking up after like in January usually. But we chilling, you know? We chilling.
Is what's been the most exciting thing about making videos. And I hope that some of you guys have probably seen it in the content that I've been making, right? Like, hey, the eyes really perk up when I get to fucking talk about some guy.
That was scary. What are you doing, dude?
Goddamn alternate, right? When I get to sit from this aisle and sort of guide people and convert them. I almost feel like a fucking, like a Jehovah's Witness almost. I knock on your door at 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, so have you ever heard of Lunix? have you ever heard of Tux the Penguin? Do you?
Okay. This is fucking. All right. It went from like kind of wholesome to just, I don't even know if this was happening anymore. It's okay. Cool.
You know that there's alternatives to this hell that you're subjecting yourself to? Yeah, I feel like that's just kind of the path that, you know, I want to take over here. And I kind of want to make more educational style videos than this that are still hopefully entertaining and hopefully cater to a market of people that just literally are just trying to switch off without all the annoying, you know, convoluted nature of it. Linux is just one of those things where ultimately at the end of the day, it will never be a 100%. Like, you'll never overtake, okay? I think it's completely delusional. I'd have to be a completely delulu nut job to think that at one point, most people in the world would be using Linux. It's just never going to happen.
Why would they ever? Isn't it Linux? I don't know. Who cares? Why would they ever use it? It's like hard. Most people want to have the experience spoon-fed to them, like me. And I'm not really trying to learn how to use it, so...
But, you know...
It sounds like he just wants to use it because it's like it's something he thinks is cool. And we're talking about, I don't know, competition. There's not going to be competition from this. It's cool. You want to start talking about your special interest on your YouTube channel.
Seeing the percent go up one by...
Mudahar wanted to bait Nicholas Cioria to make a video about him. You think that that's what this is? Dude, maybe. Maybe he's trying to trigger him, bro. I think that this game's trying to bait me into reducing its difficulty. You guys, what do you guys think?
One by one each year is pretty goddamn impressive. You know, just to see people actually using Linux more and more and more, especially in places like the United States, where to this day there is still not, you know, computers that you can go to in a Best Buy, in a goddamn like I was about to say Future Shop, but that's like from my childhood. Really, any tech store, Walmart, and purchase a laptop that isn't, you know, loaded with Windows or that isn't a Chromebook in some capacity. To see the number go up, regardless of all of that, is actually pretty goddamn impressive to see.
I guess, yeah, sure.
And, you know, like I said, the other day when I talked about Zorin OS, seeing 1 million downloads over there. Obviously, how many of those million...
Is that Zoran Mamdani's OS or something?
...and actually stayed over? That's a good question. But to see people sort of engage with an alternative and try things out is impressive. And I think going into the future, and I've covered Linux for years now at this point, but I do kind of want to get a little bit more aggressive because, I start to see that people are switching over, and really it has to be, it needs a welcoming community to help people completely switch over. And, beyond me, there's plenty of other great channels that discuss Linux now.
Ooh, who does that?
Gamers Nexus has been making pretty good benchmarking things as well, too.
Well, all honesty, everything aside, what the hell is even the benefit of using this? It doesn't even seem like there's a benefit to using Linux. What do you get out of it? Like, you get to say that you're a cool guy for making things harder for yourself for fun? What's the point? I don't know. I don't get it.
There's an amazing channel called The Primogen who's also been covering Linux as well. Brody Robertson is a pretty good guy. There's just a lot of people that cover this angle, a lot of people in the tech space that cover this stuff with a lot of positivity and a lot of welcoming behavior. Okay. That I think ultimately this community kind of needs, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I do want to ask you what your thoughts are with the future of this channel in regards to Linux content. I know that there's a fair amount of people that really enjoy
or just post it. Who gives a fuck?
Enjoy it. There's, you look at the analytics, a lot of people subscribe to this channel. When you look into those videos, like a lot of people jump in and stick around because they want to just end up learning more. So I guess.
Is that what the analytics say? Oh, so then why are you asking anybody? We're just like low on things to talk about. It's like, oh, I'm going to ask you guys. It seems like you already know what the answer is.
Yes, all I could really ask you is, what do you really want to know about the next thing? Do you want to know how to make Linux into the best content creation machine? Do you want to learn more about virtual machines? Hell, do you want to actually start modding games? What is it that you want to do? What are the burning questions? What are the last few things that you need to finally switch over to the Penguin that this fat Indian guy can help you with on the internet is what I'm really asking for. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just wanted to kind of yap a little bit about this. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it.
I wouldn't doubt it if he was just trying to bait Nicholas. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he's trying to bait Nicholas here. I don't know. I kind of get it. I mean, it sounds like he wants to make a little bit of a transition, and he just wants some audience feedback. Okay, cool. I mean, I guess it's my fault. I mean, I just wanted to see what was up with it, so it's not that huge, big of a deal. But I don't know. It seemed like a little bit, almost like a waste of something to talk about.
I am out.
All right, cool beans, man. Interesting. Okay, cool.